Okay, now we're all right, bro. We're gonna try one more time to add Miss Bonnie Sue. We're gonna call her, and then we'll start because we're live now. Jeannie or
Hey, Bonnie Sue, were you having trouble joining the call video?
Brenda.
Yes,
All right, Jeannie.
I see the picture.
You do?
Okay, we've got,
It come up that says joined as an
we got
attendee.
Brenda and Jeannie on a phone.
All right, hit
on the
that
desk
join
here,
as an
so
attendee.
Can I just put you on speaker and you participate that way? All right, all right.
Danny, I don't see the live.
It's if you move, it's live now. I can see. I don't know if you can make your little buttons come up. Mine says live now.
Okay, I see
There's
that it says live.
Okay, I think I have it. I see. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up with you then.
Okay, I can make your little buttons come up. Mine says live now.
Are you able to see Jeannie?
I can't see how to get the buttons up. Are you able to see Jeannie? I can only see you and Danny.
Toggle over like the middle of the screen, Brenda, the buttons will come up.
Got too much.
Somebody's got their phone next to their.
And if everybody will mute, everybody mute.
Everybody mute.
Brenda or Jeannie, can you hear me on this? Bonnie Sue?
I don't see anything but Brenda or Jeannie, can you hear me on this? I can only see you and Danny.
That's good enough, ain't it?
As long as you see us, that's good enough, right?
Well, apparently we're, never mind.
Can you hear me through Teams? It might be easier, Brenda, just click off Teams and just do it through the phone, so we don't get the echo. Jeannie, are you still there?
Teacher's trying to call me, but I can't switch.
I was trying to tell her how to get through it on her computer. Tell her don't worry about it.
Oh, I'm sorry, what, Peter?
I was trying to tell you how to get it to come up on your computer, but that's fine if you're on the phone.
Yeah, I'm on, it doesn't look like it's live for me. Not the phone, but the computer doesn't look like it's live.
Well, all I'm seeing is that it's saying it's live, but I'm not seeing nobody.
It's all live right now.
Okay.
Jeannie, are you on here? Jeannie, can you hear us? Jeannie ended. You have Jeannie's number?
Hey, Danny.
Hey, okay, Jeannie can hear. Can you hear Miss Monty Sue?
I was just hearing you because you just asked with Jeannie, are you on here? Can you hear me on there?
You gotta hit your mic button to unmute.
I did. Let me go back and try it. Hold on just.
Don't bring any supper or anything for us.
Let's see.
Well, we can just do the sound through the phone.
Are you on here? Can you hear me? My sound's all the way down. Can you hear me?
We can hear you on the cell phone. Did you hear Kelly? Okay. I think we got everybody. Brenda, you can hear.
I can hear.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get this meeting started. I guess that we can say that all board members are either virtual or on by phone call, and the board attorney and the superintendent are all present for this meeting. And so let's stand with prayer and pledge, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for your blessings. We ask, Lord, this evening for your kindness, your mercy, and your compassion. Lord, as we are facing these unnormal times, these times, Lord, that we've never had to experience before, I pray for our world that we live in, for our nation, Lord, for our state, for our community, with the sickness and all that's taking place and the unknown. I'll pray for peace and comfort, and Lord, for your blessings upon those whom are sick. And Lord, be with them and their families. And I pray that you would help us all to have good wisdom and understanding to do the right things. We ask for wisdom as we take care of the business of our community, of our schools, and that in all things, Lord, that first it would honor you, and second, Lord, that it would be for the very best of all people. And so we thank you again that we can ask these blessings upon us and to be able to call upon you. And we ask this in your name, dear Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you call Jeannie on your phone?
As we now need to approve our adoption of the agenda, let me ask this, if we could. If you make a motion, would you please state your name and the motion, or if you second, state your name with that second, for that the minutes can, as we go through all this telecommunications, where that we can get the right person who made a motion or made a second. So do I hear a motion and a second that we adopt the agenda?
I motion, Danny. This Deidre.
Okay, Ms. Carlton makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, been seconded by Ms. Donnell. Okay, we're now to the approval of minutes. The minutes of March the 3rd, regular school board meeting. Do I hear a motion and second that we approve them?
Motion by Bonnie.
Okay, motion by Ms. Agner and second by Brenda. Okay. For the March 12th regular school board meeting and closed hearing, a motion and second.
You can get a vote.
I need a motion.
You need a vote on the prior one.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye. Anybody?
Aye.
All right, so carried. On March the 12th meeting, regular school board meeting and closed hearing, do I have a motion and second to approve them?
Brenda.
Okay.
By Bonnie.
All right, motion's been made, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. And then one more on March the 23rd, a regular school board meeting. Need a motion and a second for approval.
Motion by Brett. Second by Bonnie.
All right, motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so carried. And this brings us down to the moment and items of interest by the public.
And with this live event, it's my understanding that the participants have an opportunity to send in a message if they're having any items of interest. Let me go confirm that there are none.
Okay,
And I don't have any here that I know of.
Mr. Glarman and Mr. Lundy, Ms. Dotamy had just, as the moderator, has just confirmed that no one from the public has indicated any request to speak.
okay. So we move on then, and by the adoption of the agenda, 6.02, 8.01, and 12.01 have been approved. And this brings us down to item 19, 19.01, discussion of the COVID-19. And I'll turn that over to the superintendent at this time.
All right, Ms. Brandon, you want to go first? Just a quick update if you've changed anything.
Hey, Danny, can I say something?
Kelly, hold on just a sec. Go ahead, Brenda.
When I actually look at my screen, not my phone, but the actual iPad,
Uh-huh.
there is a lag of several. I mean, it's like several seconds.
So we need to slow down.
So it's not current. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so we just need to slow down.
No, because you're frozen on my screen.
And one thing that,
see you, but I can hear you, but you're not moving at all.
that could be, I've got an update from other counties that the internet and afternoons are extremely slow because everybody's on. I don't know, that could be slowing us down this afternoon.
So does it continue on then?
Yes.
Okay.
You may want to have Ms. Brandon stop periodically to see if Brenda would speed.
Okay. You ready?
Go ahead.
So not much has changed for the primary school. For phase 2, we have gone ahead and done packets again. The packets are done better this time. They have standards based on 3-year-olds. VPK has their own packet. Kindergarten, first and second have their own packets as well, with a schedule put into place for the parents to follow to make it easier for everyone. Like I said, the packets were based on standards that we would be teaching this 9 weeks. These packets will run for the next 12 days. Packet pickup started today and will be on Thursday as well, and was at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then packet delivery will be on the bus tomorrow during afternoon bus routes. Teachers are still using Class Dojo to reach out to parents daily and phone calls daily. We do have some videos going out. This week is our virtual spirit week for our school, so we've had lots of posts on that.
I'm going to confirm with Ms. Carlton if she's heard all that.
Were you able to hear that, Miss Brenda?
I did.
Okay, good. Okay, Miss Lytle?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We started our consumables distribution today. We went a little different route because we had quite a bit of money, Title I dollars tied up in our consumables, and we really felt like that was the core curriculum, and we wanted to keep it as seamless as possible. So the teachers are communicating with parents via phone calls, dojos, Facebook, email, and they're giving assignments out beginning next week with those consumable materials that we have, because all of our textbooks are consumable.
we started bag delivery today or pickup today. We ran from 9 to 11 and 4 to 6 to accommodate the parents that work. And we can't run from, it's just difficult to run from 11 to 1 because we're providing lunch at our school site for the district. So, and we're giving out about 250, 300 lunches a day. So it gets hectic when you're trying to give out that. We're going to do bus delivery tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we're going to have another 9 to 11 and 4 to 6 delivery for those consumables.
Okay. Was Miss Peel able, Heather, you want to go ahead and go, and then we'll see if, I'm not sure, is Kiki on? I'm not seeing where Kiki's got on yet, Miss Peel. So why don't you go ahead, Heather?
Okay. Well, not much has changed at the high school either. We handed out packets again yesterday to students who don't have internet or a device, and handed out about 100 packets, I believe. We did still have several students who came to pick up packets, not realizing that the work online is all that they need to do. So once we had some face-to-face conversations about that, we kind of worked through the kinks. My teachers are submitting work that we're going to send out on Thursday for the rest of the month of April. And so that will continue to be their core instruction. So it's basically history, science, math, and English. And they will continue to work just as though they were in the classroom. We do have bins in the front of the school where people have dropped off work. And so this week, by the end of the week, we'll have taken that out and scanned it and emailed it to the teachers so that they have it and they won't have to come and collect the papers. And that's really, that's kind of where we are and where we've been.
Okay. Are we able to hear Mr. Bray? Okay, Miss Peel.
Hey guys.
There you go.
Can you?
Go ahead, we got you.
Okay, so I really didn't hear anybody else on what they said, but I believe you want to know what we've been doing.
I could barely hear Kiki.
You can barely hear me?
Yeah.
How about now?
It's
Better.
still low, Danny.
That's better.
So basically, my teachers, starting from Thursday through yesterday, prepared all the packets for any of the parents that were going to pick them up. So that started today at 8 o'clock, and we'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday all day. We've had aides in the front lobby handing them the packets as they come to the school and pick them up. Anybody that wanted their assignments online, they have all been put into Teams, whether they're in a packet or they are online. So all of their information is in the Teams app. And so like today was the very first day of most people getting their information. But the biggest confusion was just making sure that people knew whether or not they were getting a packet or how to access their stuff online.
Thank you, Miss Peel. I got Mr. Bray. Let's see.
You done with me?
Yes, ma'am. Just hang on until the end, but hang on just a few more minutes.
Okay, I'm just gonna turn my volume off.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Bray, you want to update us on your plan?
All right, I'm not sure if y'all can hear me or not.
You got to talk loud, Jimmy.
All right, can you hear me now?
Teacher, can you hear him?
They need to adjust the volume on their devices, because if this is going live, it's not just an issue for us, it's an issue for the audience.
I agree, it's horrible.
Jimmy, are you just, I could talk for you, you're just pretty much doing the same thing, kind of like the primary, you're doing your consumables, using up your consumables, passing those out, and your information goes out tomorrow or today? Okay, Mr. Bray's got all of his out except for a few. They're using their core curriculum and they're using their consumables. Anything else, Mr. Bray?
We've just been working with parents to make sure everybody is able to connect with technology resources as well.
So Mr. Bray's been working with each family to make sure they're able to connect and got what they need to help their students be successful. Is that good, Mr. Bray?
Yeah, I'll just started on Monday doing morning announcements and posting it for our Facebook page. That's something we plan to continue throughout.
They're doing, I think some other schools are too, but Steinhatchee is also doing morning announcements and they're posting that on their Facebook page and they're going to continue to do that as they move forward. Thanks, Mr. Bray.
Thank you.
Okay, and I don't think anything's changed for Miss Tillman. She was trying to get on, but I don't think she was able to get on yet. But Miss Tillman, nothing's changed from them from the last meeting that I can think of right off with her, because they got adults, so they would stay the same. But before the principals go, is there any questions? And Coach Harvey, they're staying the same too, because theirs were already online, so they have their laptops. They're just continuing the same thing as the high school, so nothing really changed. They were the easiest ones to transition, really.
Eddie, can I say something really quick?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say how wonderful, I mean, and I think it's been at all the schools, the staff has been, our administrative teams, our non-instructional, our front office staff, our teachers, and the parents have been wonderful. So they have worked harder than I think they've ever worked. So they've done a really good job and being accommodating and doing anything we've asked them to do. So we just want to give them a shout out too. That was it.
Hello. Hey, Danny.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I did have a question. I've got a couple of phone calls from some parents, and I don't know if you want me to address it now or you want me to wait till later, but there's a lot of concern that parents thought they was getting a packet, but now they're getting individual lessons from teachers, and they're really expressing a lot of concern that they're feeling overwhelmed. They're hearing that students are going to be receiving grades. So I wasn't aware that we was going to be giving grades out. I thought the goal was to make sure students don't lose out on instruction, but I'm very concerned that, you know, we are, as the guidance you give, that we're making sure we're having compassion in this situation. I mean, I commend us for coming up with a plan. I commend us for the hard work that's going into it, but I don't want parents to feel like this is an extra challenge on top of another challenge. So I want to make sure that we follow the lead that was provided initially from Commissioner, as well as from what you stated at the last board meeting, that there will be compassion. I feel like our students are still able to learn whether they get a grade through this or not, but I just don't want kids to be really frustrated because they're not used to the resources they have at school. We can't duplicate our teachers, and I'm not saying we should, and I don't think there's no expectation that the parent is going to do what the teacher did, because that's what makes us all individuals. But I definitely feel like we got to make sure we understand, and our homes don't have the resources we have at school. So we can't lose focus of that.
Absolutely. That's a very good question to bring up. We met with the principals this week on that. We talked about compassion and grace again. The packets will be the main thing. But when it comes down to the end, I spoke to a parent today. It's going to come down to compassion, grace. We're just asking them to do the best they can. I totally understand. We've got parents who are still working. That's got 3 or 4 kids at the house. They're coming home doing the very best they can. So we are understanding that. Make sure they reach out to the teachers and make sure they're communicating that with the teachers. But we're just asking them just to do the very best they can. All of us are still working. We got kids at home. And we 100% understand that, because it's hard when Julie and I get home from a personal standpoint with 3 and try to spend 2 to 3 hours with them. So absolutely, as we move forward, and everybody's going to be fine. As long as they try, they're going to be fine. The only ones who may be in trouble if they absolutely refuse to do nothing. So that's what we've been telling parents as we move forward. So if there is any more concerns, make sure they reach out to that teacher and let the principal know or me know, and we'll make sure that that compassion and grace is being afforded to those students. And
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I expressed that concern, because by no means I'm directing everyone, as I've done, to contact the administrators, contact the schools.
yes, ma'am.
But I mean, we know what we're Title I for a reason. We're not Title I just to get additional funding. We're Title I because the demographics. And you stated that the plan that we developed was what was going to work best for Taylor County. So I want us to make sure that we're able to, we physically can't touch every home, but we got to make sure that every home is in mind when we're moving forward. We can put a plan out there, and everybody may take different directions to get to that plan, but the goal is that we all wind up at the finish line.
Yes, ma'am. I think Ms. Crofton had a question or input.
I really didn't have a question. It's just that my sound is still horrible being able to, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Do you still have Teams open?
So, Brenda, you have your computer and your phone open. You need to close one of them.
Yeah, close your computer.
Make sure your computer is muted, Miss Brenda, and it should fix it for you.
The computer is muted.
Make sure your speakers are muted, not just the screen. Make sure it's off.
Yes, got it.
Because they'll contradict each other, or they'll fight each other, whatever. I can hear Brenda really good, and I can hear Deidre pretty good. I haven't heard Jeannie talk enough to know if I'm hearing her well. I heard you, Danny, really well, and most of the administrators really well.
Jeannie, are you still on there? Jeannie? Jeannie's. Oh, Jeannie, Jeannie, you there?
I'm here, Danny. I just can't hear.
Okay. Can you hear a little better now?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. And I will say that I do want to thank our parents and our community all for being very understanding. The hardest part of this has been trying to find a plan that, we have some parents who are saying we're not doing enough. We have some parents who are being overwhelmed. So trying to find that good middle, tell them this is the basic, please do this. And if you need supplement, this is out there. On a conference call today, we're not the only ones facing that. I know some of the bigger districts down south are providing a lot of work for their students, and they're actually having to back up because students are spending 5 and 6, 7 hours at a computer. Our students should spend no more than an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours at the max is all our students should be spending at a time. So that's what we want to make sure. But I've spoken to a couple of parents, but the food lines have been going excellent. Everybody has been so nice. At the high school last week, we had an extremely long line, and everybody that came through was smiling, was very polite, and told us they 100% understood and they appreciated what we were doing. So I appreciate the support of the board and everybody trying to figure this out. We know we got a couple of kinks tonight. We'll figure that out for the next board meeting. I think Brother Danny wanted to address that real quick.
What's the consensus of the board? Our next board meeting would be 2 weeks from today. But just talking around a little bit with what the scenario is there really any need for us to have another board meeting this month? Maybe just try to have one the first Tuesday in May. Unless there's something comes up, we have to call a special meeting. What's the consensus of the board on that?
I think that's a great idea, no more than what we have going.
Okay.
I think that's the right thing to do because I think, as long as Danny just lets us know if anything comes up, just kind of keep us posted. But as we go through this, we may have, more to do later is what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, everything changes from day to day, but right now, with all the shaking and rattling and going on, that, if we need to meet, we can call it, but, there's not really anything agended right now for 2 weeks from now. So if we just, expect to meet back the regular school board meeting the first Tuesday in May. What's the other feelings, Deidre?
I mean, I didn't think our board meetings was gonna change. There's a lot of moving parts with this, so I'm just hoping that if we do, wait till the next month, if something comes up and we need to have a meeting, I hope that would be what we do, because every week is changing. I mean, last week, we thought we was gonna be back on, I don't think we really thought we was gonna be back on the 15th, but the plan was to the 15th. But then that new information came and we had to make adjustments where it was needed. So I just want to make sure that we still understand that we still have our obligation, and we're live and we're doing virtual meetings. So that still gives us the opportunity to do the business of the board. But I just want to make sure we're covering our responsibilities. So once all this is done, we make sure we're in a safe place as a board. We're handling the board business.
Okay, thank you. And certainly that is what the direction to the superintendent would be, that if there's something that we need to be informed about, or we do need to meet, we need to know, and we will meet prior to the first Tuesday in May. Ms. Mathis?
That's absolutely fine with me, as long as, like Bonnie Sue said, and Brendan, Deidre, just to make sure that if there's anything that we need to know, that Danny just keeps us up to date on what's going on.
Okay, all right. So the consensus of the board is that unless something else comes up, that we will meet, our next board meeting will be the first Tuesday in May. Okay.
I got a question real quick, Danny. I know I expressed a concern the other day, so I'm gonna ask again. Danny, can we please make sure we're documenting every expense, and if people are working outside of their regular hours, can we please make sure we're doing that? Because again, I don't want us to have a lot of extra hours if we don't have to have them. Hello?
It looks like we lost him, Ms. Donnell.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's still there. I see his bubble at the bottom.
Yeah, Angela bubble looked like it popped up, but I don't see her face.
You only see the face of someone who's talking, like the last 4 people that talked.
Well, I see you now.
Hey, Miss Jody.
I seen where you came in, but now I see you.
Yeah, they have to talk for you to, we figured that out the other day.
Okay, yeah, Danny's still down there. His bubble's still down there.
Sorry, I hit the wrong, I was inviting Miss Pule and got messed up. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that before we go, is Second Harvest was there today, and Mr. Blue reported that went fairly good, pretty good. And the Second Harvest will be back on 2 weeks from tomorrow. So Second Harvest will be back on the 22nd is our plan. And then starting on the 15th, we will only provide food 1 day a week. That will be 5 meals at one time. So I think that's really the biggest that we got coming up. The other thing was I was on a call today with TMH and all of Senator Munford surrounding counties, sheriffs, city managers, all the government agencies. One thing we need to push hard is that social distancing, asking people to stay home. They need to get that message out in rural districts. They're tracking us by our cell phones, and you can actually go to Unicast and it gives each county a report. and the rural counties are not doing a good job at staying isolated or staying put as much as possible compared to some of the other districts. And they're really concerned that if that continues the way we're going, that we could exceed the amount of beds that is available in rural North Florida with cases. So they're just asking us to kind of help promote that. They feel like social distancing will be one of the best ways to curb that. I know we had a request to use a field for Easter, and after this meeting, I've spoken with them, and they will not host that for Easter because of the new information we have. So just wanted to share that with you guys.
Let's get back to the legal meeting. It's a spinoff from the legal meeting we had last week, and the board does need to come together and hear what results are, the reports, and then be able to move forward. So Ms. Ball has asked what times are available for us maybe to do that in the next.
What time did she have? Did she have a select time of day?
I'm sorry, what did
Yeah,
you
I can
say?
do that.
Did she have a select time and date?
Mr. Glover has just suggested that I send out a poll to everybody like we did before. And if that might be the easiest, I'll give 3 or 4 proposed dates, and then everybody can just respond to the poll.
Okay, that'll work for me, Angela.
Is that
Dr. Glover, do you want me to make a quick CBTC report? And I mean quick?
I covered you.
Okay, good.
How about the rest of the board members? Is that good enough for Angela to send out a poll and we just try to determine what's a good time for that?
Yes, that's fine. That's fine with me because I got plenty of time.
I wish I did. I didn't skip the beat.
Okay. Well, that's what Ms. Ball will do.
I will do that.
Is there anything else that you need?
I have nothing else. I don't need an executive session tonight.
Okay.
Hey, Danny, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
Since you just got through talking about the food, did we have a lot of families show up for Second Harvest?
Yes, I think Mr. Blue told me over 350 today.
Okay. And are we providing food to daycares?
If that is yes, they can. If they pull up and have a list of students, they can get meals.
Okay, so we are keeping the numbers on that, right?
Yes, we have to
Okay.
take their names. They supply us with a list of names, and then they can get food.
Okay.
I cleared that.
Okay, all right.
All right. Is there any other questions or comments? If not, then do I hear a motion and second that we adjourn?
Motion.
All right, motion's been made, been seconded.
Jeannie seconded.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, so thank you all. It's a learning curve for all of us, but thank you.
Thank y'all.
Stay safe.
Stay